What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Halving Report. I am your host, Brad Mines. The price of Bitcoin is approximately 118,000 US dollars, and there's about 979 days left until the next Bitcoin halving. Today, we're going to be showing you the presentation that Jimmy Kostro put on for the Niagara Bitcoin meetup last Wednesday. Jimmy just so happened to be in New York when I reached out to him. As you know, if you've been following Halving Report, Jimmy has been on the podcast a couple of times, recorded at the Bitcoin Learning Center all the way in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And with all the crypto regulation announcements coming out and everything that's happening there this year, what better time to have Jimmy Kostro come out and educate some Canadians on what's happening on the ground with Bitcoin in Thailand. It's a great place. I've been living out there for the last 8 months or so. So I invite all of you to watch this awesome presentation, see how Jimmy's been spreading Bitcoin adoption. One of the coolest things is that when I went out to Chiang Mai, I had no idea that the Bitcoin Learning Center even existed. In fact, my friend Ryan messaged me and told me that this Bitcoin Learning Center was there. And when I pulled up, I met Nia, who is one of the employees there, and introduced me to Jimmy. And I've had 2 interviews with him since. And now we've met all the way back here in North America. He came from New York to Ontario. Only Jimmy's second time being in Canada and his first time seeing Niagara Falls. So cool that he's out here giving this awesome speech to us here, educating Canadians on what's happening over there in Asia, building the biggest Bitcoin Asia hub. So be sure to tune in to this full episode of Halving Report. Let's get right to it.
Let's get this started. Welcome once again. Good to have everybody here at the Niagara Bitcoin meetup here in July 2025. We're very excited tonight to have Jimmy Kostro with us, all the way from Chiang Mai, Thailand. He's going to be talking to us about Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Center there, some of what Bitcoin is doing in Chiang Mai and maybe all throughout Thailand, or expanding, hopefully. We'll get a chance to hear about that. Afterwards, we'll be able to do maybe some question and answer. And then after that, we will have our draws. Got some exciting draws tonight. Top prize, of course, being a ticket to the Canadian Bitcoin Conference this October in Montreal. It's going to be fantastic. Hope as many of you can make it as possible, and someone can go for free. That'll be good. Also, welcome. He's doing the camera filming right now, but welcome to Brad Mines. He's also here from Thailand, spending some time through the summer back here in Canada, but we're probably heading back. But he's mentioned to have Jimmy here, so I'm really excited, grateful for that. Very excited to have him here. So, Jimmy, without further ado, why don't you take it away?
Thank you. Cool. Thank you, Sean. That's great to see what you guys have done. Seeing 20 people at a Bitcoin meetup is very inspiring, and it's great to see. It's important that we have these things that are very consistent on a monthly basis so it doesn't fall apart. Again, my name is Jimmy Kostro. I've been in Bitcoin since 2017. So how did we end up building the largest Bitcoin community in Asia? It's totally crazy. Why Asia? So I left North America in 2018 to explore Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, the Philippines. And I handed my business operations off to a person that's way smarter than me. And she runs the organization out of Miami. And I grew up in New York. And I said, okay, I could leave this in her hands and I could go travel, which created a unique arbitrage, because if you could have your business here in Canada and go somewhere where the cost of living is 300% less, you can stack 3 times as much Bitcoin. So why did I end up on Thailand? Thailand has superior infrastructure. It's similar to how it is when you maybe go to a mall here. It's not like you might see on all the TVs. There's air conditioning, there's windows, there's cars. It's quite normal. And there's really kind people. The weather's amazing. And you could ride motorbikes, like not the ones that come tomorrow night, like the little ones. And that's really fun because you could just drive up to like a little massage place, park at the front door, like get your, massage for $7 or your toes or nails done. And it's just like super, super cool. And again, it's 300% cheaper than living in the US and 200% better quality of life, in my opinion. So this is why I decided to choose for Thailand. And then why in Thailand did we choose Chiang Mai? And Chiang Mai's kind of got this relaxed, chill, northern vibe. I try to compare, like, if I was thinking about comparing cities in Canada, like say Montreal's like the hustle and the bustle, this would be like Chiang Mai's like the Quebec city, kind of like a more of a laid back vibe. We have the largest universities up in Chiang Mai, and there's tons of expats that come through. There's like the nomad trail, which typically You'll see like the digital people that work online. They'll go to Medellin, Colombia, Playa del Carmen, Mexico, Cancun, Mexico, Lisbon, Portugal, Bali, and Chiang Mai happens to be one of the ones in the top 3 list as you make your way through that digital nomad list. So the problem was, well, when I got there, one of the other reasons I got there on the pros and cons list was they had a Bitcoin meetup. And I had just came from El Salvador. I know Lori was saying she was in El Salvador. So maybe some of you else, Sean has. I came from there. I'm like, whoa, we're not all, there's other crazy people too. Let me spend some more time around the grid. I'm not alone. So I heard they had a Bitcoin meetup. I went there and I found out it was like, really? 75% like Hex and this and XRP that and this. It's like, oh man, like, so, and I know you guys are still on your journey and eventually you'll figure out why we do this. But, and many of us came from that. So it's invited because you'll eventually get there. So, and then 25% was Bitcoin only. And I met some great guys and girls that were Bitcoin only, but it was more of like a social thing like this. It wasn't structured. And I was like, we need something like not where you just go get wasted and talk about like the top 10 altcoins. We need something where like we could help proliferate educating people about Bitcoin. So I ended up flying down to Bangkok, which is like flying from like here to Albany, kind of, if that's possible to fly there. Anyway, I was flying here to New York City. So it's like an hour or whatever, but it's only $50. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the Bitcoin only. Like, wait a minute. Why am I going to down here? We need to have a Bitcoin only building in this beautiful big city. So, and again, it's got expats and travelers and nomads. So we decided, where are we going to build? Well, my girlfriend's dad had this dilapidated old building, right? It was in the center of town or kind of near the river. You'll see how run down this building was and how frustrated I was just watching, just trying to see the vision of basically having to take this whole building down. Old building that hasn't been used in 40 years. The bricks were falling down. The bathroom, when you walk in, is this high, like literally this high. So you have to go like this. And in this video, which you can't hear on the screen, I'm like, is this a bathroom for midgets? I don't know. That stair, there's no way Sean can get up the stairs because again, the stairs, like right here, you got to kind of, yeah, it just has to go. I just said here's a bathroom for a midget. It is stressful. So everything's falling apart and I'm like, this is just crazy. And then upstairs this is kind of what upstairs looked like. If you could make it up the stairs and you can see the electrics on the outside. So the long story short is the vision was really difficult to see. Now this is what it looked like. The alleyway going into the Bitcoin Learning Center, the building, that wall didn't get painted. So this is just to give you a visual of what we're working with here. Down a weird dark alley, all dirt, everything's messed up, and the building's falling apart. So this is what we decided to do. This is in December of 2022, right after FTX. Right after FTX, there's no rush to be building something. But because Bitcoin is extremely affordable, it's the best time. So, but manpower, labor in Thailand is great for demolition. So we could start these things. So we began to just do a full demolition. That's my girlfriend praying. I'm not sure if she's praying to get this crazy guy out of her life or praying that the vision could come true. So this is almost 18 months later. In Thai, maybe the word orange didn't come across right. I got like a red. The old ladies don't like us. They wouldn't let us do all brick. So there's always some people that are a little bit tough. So we only got to do half. In this part of town, 700 years ago, right where this building is where the river is and the trade from China came. So it's kind of got this like symbolic thing of the merchants' first barter and trade happened right outside of our building. So it's kind of like cool to see the next evolution. Now, this is that crazy rooms that were downstairs you saw. You can see the white paper. It's etched into this teak wood on the wall right there. And then we finally figured out how to redo the stairs after like 8 iterations. My sister actually designed that little nook. And those 4 rooms upstairs, we just made into one big one. So if you watch some of the halving reports, you'll see Brad's background. So that's the evolution of that build and those videos. I'm going to go into much more Bitcoin stuff now. So we decided this is how our meetups were going to be arranged. 20% would be about strategic stack management. 20% would be about Nostr and Lightning projects, inheritance planning, which never gets enough time, security, and updates in progress. But the problem was our meetups started becoming way too big. Well, good problem. So we started having quarterly bit devs where like we would have bit devs from all over Southeast Asia come to our building while we're building the stream, just talking a big game about the stream. And while like the roof's falling and there's plastic and there's sawdust, we're just plugging into weird shit and like just able to like run their session. We started having 50 people for our meetups, quickly became 75. And you can't actually have a workshop when there's 75 or 100 people in the building. So then it became updates in progress, what we're working on. We staffed the entire thing. So there's 5 staff there. How could you afford that? Well, in Chiang Mai, the director of our company, our foundation, she went to Texas A&M, graduated her master's, and that salary pays like 11,000 or 12,000 US per year. Our top 2 graduates from the top university get paid 8,500 US per year. And then the next people are right around or below that. So you can see how 50,000 US, you can make things happen. So we decided to just focus on building as fast and as smart as we could. So we would start to have what is Bitcoin classes. They became blown out so big that we would do it in Thai, obviously. So the dream was to do this for the Thai people. So we'd have about 75 foreign people, international people, and then maybe like 50 Thai people. We would also teach broken money, what the problem is in Thai as well. So we'd have these classes going each month. This one would go each month. This one in English would go maybe every other month. We would do formal academic research on how Bitcoin could help disadvantaged communities on border cities in Burma and Laos on the border of China. And we're reaching into Cambodia right now. Inside our Slack, all these Bitcoin communities are in there, and we're trying to help them out. So what happens is our team goes out. We'll get interns that get paid 125 US, 150 US a month. It's the best internship going because most people don't even pay. They go out in the hill tribes and they interview people that are unbanked, that we find out that there's predatory lending. They're not good customers for the bank. So we do formal academic research on how Bitcoin could help these societies or these marginalized communities. So this is just, it's really impactful work, and it's really humbling to be part of that. And you can see like they make on average $250 to $300 a month, US dollars. And look, this is one of my favorite photos because whoever took the photos capturing their happiness. You know, they're farmers. They make like $10 or less per day, but they're happy. And so I hope that our research can help empower these villages. We do this crazy literature review. I'm not going to click on it because I want to get through our other slides. And literature review means you've got to see who else has similar research to this. And some of them are like 300 pages. So like pretty much the staff hated me for 2 months. But I'm like, listen. But then I said, all right, I got a plan. I'm going to pay this thing called ChatGPT $25, and we're going to upload the PDFs and take out the key insights and ask so we could just speed this up a little bit. This is actually July 15th, which is yesterday. Dr. Artie, he's the director of our Bitcoin project, has 42 formal publications. So this is a photo from him that they sent me yesterday of him in our office working on our Bitcoin project, while we're simultaneously building out the craziest marathon experience, the craziest festival, educating many people on Bitcoin, building the Bitcoin Learning Center, and like more things. This is so crazy. Anybody raise your hand if you are a Nostr? Okay, that's great. That's great. That's great. So maybe hopefully this is a pretty cool use case. In December, in Thailand, there's a very large Nostr community in Thai. I call them the power users. I sent a letter on Nostr saying, I will fly up the top 4 people to come with me to the hill tribes to teach these orphanages and these children's homes how to use Bitcoin Lightning because they're using TikTok, they're using Facebook, but they have no access to make money. But if we could have them tag their hill tribe and they could get points, sats, then this is like the most inspiring thing I could imagine. So, of course, 4 people said yes. We brought them up. We work with 40 villages. So every year we build shit because of Bitcoin. We build bathrooms. We build dormitories. We build kitchens. We just built a 100-person kitchen, 100 children person kitchen. We do lights, internet in villages, water wells, everything because of Bitcoin. And we went up there, and then the craziest thing about this experience is that when we got there, the Thai Nostr users got the groups of kids into 25 each, and there was like 6 teachers, 2 of mine, and 4 that we flew up. And this was their first. So basically they use TikTok and Facebook. We were showing them that this is like social media, similar thing, but you get points or sats, and you could trade it into us at the end of the day. And whoever got the most by the end of the weekend was going to get like $100 phone, some like Samsung phone. Everyone got excited. But what was really fascinating was this interaction was their first interaction with money. It wasn't the Thai baht, wasn't the euro, the Canadian dollar, the US dollar. It was Bitcoin. So like, whether it takes iterations and continuations and consistency to help move that needle, but it was really empowering to see these kids get excited over earning these points and their first experience touching money being the hardest money ever to exist. Super cool. We have in the villages I go into, we have Bitcoin mining solar projects. So we built a solar site because they didn't have power. We said, wait a minute, I got an idea. If we could have power, we can have a freezer. They could have frozen meat, and they could have better nutrition, and they could be stronger and healthier, and they could freeze vegetables and fruits, and we don't got to go up there all the time. And then they didn't really use it. Fuck. All right. Well, now I got 7 kilowatts of extra energy on top of a mountain jungle 5 hours from the city. Well, what do we do with that? As soon as we plugged in the Bitcoin miners to an orphanage 5 hours from the city, on top of a mountain in the middle of the jungle with no power, the internet sent more money in donations that day than the address of the Bitcoin miner would make in 1 year. Super, super powerful. So we said, you know what? Let's find a bigger village that's got more solar. So this is a big one with 40 kilowatts. This is a massive system. What's happened here is the government just built a dam, displaced these hill tribes. They flooded their land and lost their cattle and flooded their huts and their bamboo homes. And in return, they gave them a 40 kilowatt system. So we said, I got an idea for you. So we're working with Doi Tao on this project. That's what it looks like from the outside. You got to take like a barge raft to get there. And you can see how many batteries it has. It's a really exciting project, and Bitcoin could actually really help these people. They're not using all of their energy. And when there's excess energy, this is like a no-brainer. As long as you do it smart. You don't want to hurt their system. You don't want to burn down their building. So you do need people that pay attention to it. You need a passionate Bitcoiner within 2 hours away. That's part of the project, because even though you could think you could set it and forget it, it does need some attention. Lightning implementations. We just got a new gate, electric gate, Brad. When you go next, there's a gate electric now. We're now going to try to make it 1 Satoshi. So to try to educate people on what you want to come, you either got to wait for the text when you call or whatever, or the email, or less than a fraction of 1 penny. You could just scan it and open it, so we're working on that. We've got so many little lightning things, but I don't want to waste too much time. This is just like a box where you put your bot in. Someone designed it. They're all over. Go to the conferences. You'll see it. I don't know why I kept this slide in. We're trying to get that big green part for them to let us rent so we can make it bigger, because we're already maxing out of our space. This is a Bitcoin story. It's kind of getting more in the fun, the money part of it, the price appreciation part of it, all that. So right across the street is the president's house, like the president of the country, not the boat club. Like, you can take a basketball and throw it over his hedge. I'm like, why does the president buy this little rundown place? And at the time, it was for rent. And Five's family says, why didn't you buy it? So at this time, it was $250,000, which is 8,500 baht, or 12 Bitcoin, or a 10-year lease, which is increases 5% every 3 years, but it's only 354 US per month. But if I really wanted to make it Western and like comfortable, everything, I'd have to put like $24,000 into it. People are like, why would you put money into something that's not yours? Like, because dude, you don't get it. Because this is what happens. Because a year later, that house wasn't 12 Bitcoin, it was 6 Bitcoin. And then when I made this presentation and kept this slide in, I kept this slide in because look, this was only 7 months ago or 8 months ago that the house in October, was maybe 9 months ago, was 3.5 Bitcoin. And today, exactly, it's 2 Bitcoin today. It's almost half that. So, it's just like, you know, you see this meme, you see this on Twitter or wherever you go on social media, Nostr, but this is like very real. It's really hard to own some real estate when you really go down the rabbit hole. You know, Brad, you still got property, man. I don't know. Might be the time to unload. I did have something, and I did something similar with Brad, and I'll show you. Bitcoin is your business. So like $100,000 investment at the start of 2023. I just ran this just yesterday before I came, just for the compound annual growth rate, because in 2023, it was 155% appreciation. Last year it was 124. Today it's 96%. That would be $1,100,000. So people are like, how do you pay for all of this? That's how I paid for it. You know, I took my own advice. That's what I did, because we don't have any outside funding, but we did at least that then, you know, because we saw this earlier than that. So this is like a real life thing. And why I say it's your business is because just look at it like the 50% compound annual growth rate. And I was sharing on one of Brad's podcasts like many months ago. If you aim to save just half of your very best year's salary. So I like to arbitrarily use like 100,000. Let's just say that's my very best year. If you aim to just get to $50,000 in Bitcoin, let next year take care of it for you. So that's half you, right? So let's just say you're in black, and then this silhouette in orange, half of it, you've gotten 50,000. Now next year, that's what you look like. Now you're working, and you've got a clone, and he's making just as much. But now your clone is stronger than you, unless you think you're going to make 50%. And what happens the next year? So all of a sudden, that guy's making 100,000, that guy's making 100,000, and that guy's making 100,000. But that's not what happened. What happened was that this guy didn't even have a chance to put his clothes on, you know? So if you look at it over 3 years, you've got a team of people earning the same income that you're earning. And this is just math. This isn't my idea. This is just me trying to show you, and I can't even articulate it right without it looking totally crazy. So most businesses fail their first year. 20% of small businesses fail the first year. Within 5 years, 50% of businesses collapse and fail, right? 10 years, 70%. What I'm getting at here is like, you've got to make some choices, because even like in our jobs we're not getting increases in wages and salaries that are pacing with inflation, and our businesses are going to die and even if you're competing, it's difficult. All of this comes down to say that the average profit margin across all industries is 8.5%. 8.5% doesn't even cost what happened to eggs here in Canada. You know, so like, you got to ask yourself, I need a solution. I don't want to bet on a CEO. I don't know which way he's going to go. The Mag 7 doesn't do 50% per year. I can't trust who's going to do what, like, and buy real estate in Canada at this price. Like, this is getting kind of crazy. We looked at it and said, how can we fund the nonprofit business? We said, well, what if we use our same advice, and if we held 5 Bitcoin at 100,000 when I did this slide, and our cost of operations for all those salaries is $50,000, then that could indefinitely fund the foundation forever, right? And then you add in, like, at the end of this long worded thing here, it talks about AI making the decisions how to lead the company. So basically you have your own GPT that you say, hey, here's the direction, tell the kids to help get more people to come learn about Bitcoin, this is my same story every day. Get more groups, get more people for the meetups. There's 89 different ways. There's 740 different ways. That's all my AI would say to them. And then it gets funded by the Bitcoin. So, that's like this slide. And I wanted to kind of run through it kind of fast because I want to show you one more quick slide that I'll run through of what we're doing because it's super, super awesome. It was our trick we heard that Thailand was going to, Southeast Asia, in Asia, they were going to have the sandbox pilot program for cryptocurrency. We're like, what a disaster this is going to be. The government trying to figure this out is going to be. And I really genuinely said, we need to protect them from this. We need to create an event so big that the president of the country and the finance minister would have to hear about it and then come and speak their position on it. So we did. And it's super cool. So my slides suck. I actually have people that work for me that do way better slides. Yeah. So we are creating the world's first Bitcoin marathon. The world's first Bitcoin half marathon. The runners don't like when we don't say the word half. And this was great because it's during the same time that 100,000 people come to the city for this other cultural event. So I said, what could I do to draw a huge crowd? Now, we already have over 100 international people that come to our meetup, and we have 100 Thai. We have to split it up. You have to have your individual day. If you're international, you come on Saturday, and if you're Thai, you come on Friday, right? And we have Thursday Burmese Day. So we have 50 Burmese people. It's totally nuts. So we said, this is what we'll do. We have 3,000 to 5,000 people going to wear this shirt in November, and we are going to have this Bitcoin village. This is me speaking at the Bitcoin conference in Thailand last year, and just kind of sharing a little bit of the slides. These are the names that are coming. The first one is the former president. His daughter's the current president. I'm not really sure she's making the decision. And he's a Bitcoiner. He likes Bitcoin because he says he's a billionaire, obviously. He says because when he invests in companies in Thailand, it moves the market. He gets a lot of drama and feedback and bullshit. He loves Bitcoin. He's the neighbor. I wish I could put a flag out my window and be like, yo, but he's very rarely there. And usually it's 10 black cars that come and it's a big deal. So these are the people, the finance minister. The Bank of Thailand is the central bank. This is crazy that because of a group that Sean's built over these years, like Brad, having this meetups, us crazy people got together and thought we could get the president of a country to come speak their opinion on how they feel about crypto assets, stable coins, and Bitcoin. Now, here's the best part. If they don't have an opinion, that tells us something. If they do have an opinion, that tells us something. But either way, up in the north, the Bitcoin community is growing rapidly. We're helping out neighboring countries, and we're positioning ourselves to be the strongest ones in all of Asia. We go around the closest partnership. There's no one doing it, really. Like Bali, Indonesia, they do a good code academy thing. Tokyo, Japan, they just built a $1 million building, but nothing like this. So we couldn't use the word Bitcoin for so many reasons, because when you put Bitcoin on an email list, it gets flagged. So we have a festival partner. We have a race organizer, because we couldn't do this. And we have the Bitcoin Learning Center. They told us we could have 1,500 to 2,000 runners. But when they started their email list, they were getting blocked and spammed and pushed back. I'm like, oh, not good. So we said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. We had to use the word innovate Chiang Mai. And we had to change our running theme to Run for Freedom, which is quite appropriate. So we had to use different words to help modernize this part of the Southeast Asia. Right now, we told this story not as animated with Tether. So the thing would cost 10 million baht, $300,000, the whole thing. I said, man, this is going to be expensive, but it's worth it. It's the best use of my Bitcoin. Let's do it. But I was like, let's try to find partners so we don't have to spend all of our Bitcoin. The city said they'll pay half. Then we needed a title sponsor, which should be here. You can see it on the shirts. You see it on the shirts. So Tether is our title sponsor. So they're covering 25%. I'm like, okay. I'm only down to like, I don't know, 75,000 US. I'm like, all right, man. I was already like, if you're going to build this story, you got to be willing to do it from the get-go. You can't be like, I got an idea. Will you pay money? You had to be crazy like me and do this. So they believed the crazy white guy in the room, even though they didn't know what I was talking about. And they said, I think maybe he's got an idea. So it's Run for Freedom. On the back of the medals, this is the estimated block time. So you could figure it out. 2,000. How many blocks are there every 2 weeks? Something was it 2016? I was off by a little bit. So you could map it out, and that's what it ends up coming out to be. There's the race locations. You run by a bunch of cool stuff. So right now we're expecting 15,000 people, and this is kind of part of a pitch for people, partners like Binance and others. Many crypto coins, many tokens reached out to us, and we had to politely say, fuck you. I'm not sure what this says because I can't read, but it's part of that. And yeah, so this is more part of their pitch and their numbers that our marketing team put together for some of the stuff. We've got a big population in Chiang Mai. We've got last year in November, we had 1 million people come. We're going to make it so much Bitcoin, it's going to be overwhelming. Wait. So, and we have this Bitcoin Village thing going on. There's this Lantern Festival, many you might have seen on the internet before. We're not letting some of you crypto guys come. Like, we invite that. We understand, like, the crypto guys want to talk about the Lamborghini and the gold watch and the big house and the nice boat. And like, yeah, come on. Because eventually you're going to figure it out and we need you anyway. So come on. At one point we're like, no crypto, but like, come on. There's not enough Bitcoiners as it is. So we're going to have this many different people. This is kind of the makeup of who they are. Yep, sponsors, blah, blah, blah. So that's pretty much this presentation. I'm speaking in Hong Kong, August 28th. I'll be mentioning a little bit more about how we built this big community by being so crazy, strategically positioned. And then I'll be speaking in Bali in September, just a week later, on the same thing, on Bitcoin communities in Asia and how we got here. And we have this new board game we're working with. Our partners created like a monopoly. So we're going to have to help them sell 10,000 of these. Eventually they'll make them to Canada. They got a Kickstarter coming out in like on the 21st of July. So that's my presentation today. Thank you very much for watching. You know, I started running 2 years ago. Actually in December will be 2 years. I ran my first marathon and I'm like, let's do it. We should have our own. And I'm not pleased with the performance of the current race director. The quality, the Western quality in North America out there, it's like a stark difference. Maybe we're going to pay him 4 million baht, which is like $120,000 for this whole race. So I think next year we might be able to do it ourselves. We'll probably hire somebody. It's a project. Yeah. So I've ran 7 marathons. This will be my 8th one. I just got back from Switzerland 2 weeks ago. I ran my first mini ultra in Interlaken. So I like these little challenges. You know, I did read that somehow, dude, there's this fucking way, that somehow they're going to use the existing payment rail, the QR code, kind of like that pleb QR. And I heard there's going to be limits. I know the merchant has to have KYC. I just told the guys, listen, like, our Slack is so crazy. Our Slack is so crazy. I said, you're going to teach the local merchants how to sell whatever, their cookies, their coffee, their ice cream, whatever they sell, their food. But make sure to tell them that they have the wallet Like if you have 4 staff, it's a read-only wallet. So it's not like you're going to worry about like if you don't understand that part right away, you're worried about your staff accepting the money and then them having control over it. So that was one of those things. But from regulatory position, no, not yet. We're prepared for them to make any mistakes by being the safety net for the country in the north. Oh my God. I didn't even tell you guys. So we're the first ones in Asia to, Jesus Christ. We're the first ones in Asia to work with the government, the city. So we go in and we sit down at the local mayor's office type place where they, the provincial administrative organization that make all the approvals for all the city ordinance, all the codes, all of that stuff. We're the first ones to go in and actually educate their staff on what is Bitcoin, why Bitcoin, how to custody Bitcoin. We use these definitely funny words like Bitcoin safety course, like modern finance, basic savings. Like it's funny because we can't just barge in the door Bitcoin, so we have to use, but so yeah, we're working, I didn't even tell you, we're working with major universities. We're one of the first communities to work with major universities. We spoke at 3 of them. We're integrating Node network from Plan B and Lugano and El Salvador, where Node Nation, the high schools are going to have a new computer science. Computer science is going to be working on building out and understanding the monetary system through BitAx, through nodes, real computer science, real math. We're the first ones working with these communities. So this is like propelling us. And this is one of the reasons they want me to come talk, is because somehow we got in the door with the city. And now that city part is how they were able to get those big names invited to this big project that we have. You never know who's here. And like that whole 6 degrees of separation, and like someone at your corporation, it's important that someone strong in your community can explain the problem. What is money on a basic level? Basic savings technology. That's it, dude. Basic savings technology. That's it. Come in. What is the problem? Bacon's through the roof. How do we solve it? Saving something else. So like, we need this to continue. The consistency of this is so huge. And you guys are part of this revolution. I know it's hard to see it. And I know it's like crazy to think we're early, but like you guys are part of that. And I know we're all individually a little bit unique. Bitcoiners are a little different. And that's a nice way of saying we're all a little weird, right? But this is what it looked like when we were building the internet in the 90s, in the early 90s. A bunch of crazy people getting around, thinking shit up. Thank you again very much.